I really should have done this before Dial of Destiny came out, but I'm doing it now anyway. Indiana Jones has always been one of my favorite film franchises, except for Crystal Skull. Indy is such a cool character, and he is partially the reason why I enjoy history so much. But here's an interesting thought. When our characters are delving through ruins in the Fallout franchise, we are basically doing archaeology as well. So what if the most famous archaeologist in the world made it to the ruins of the Capital Wasteland, and perhaps even further beyond? Can you beat Fallout 3 as Indiana Jones? These rules are going to be relatively simple. For weapons, we are only going to be using the 32 pistol and the 44 Magnum plus their variants, since Indy mostly uses revolvers. Unfortunately, there's not really a whip to use in this game, but Indy does love a good punch-up, so I'll allow unarmed attacks as well. For outfits, we are going to be wearing the Wasteland Surgeon/Doctor outfit, or the Mercenary Grunt armor, with the Shady hat or Pre-War hat. None of the outfits in the game really have a leather jacket of the right color and size for Indy, so we're going for his jacketless look. As far as in-game archaeology, we will be visiting every museum in the game, as well as gathering all of Lincoln's various artifacts to give to Hannibal Hamlin, because Indy hates slavers. The Declaration of Independence will be given to the Capital Preservation Society because
that belongs in a museum!
Alongside the Magna Carta and Bill of Rights. We will also be defeating Paradise Falls and rescuing the children because that is literally the plot of Temple of Doom. Now that we've got the rules out of the way, let's begin our adventure. I start out being born and trying to make a face somewhat close to Harrison Ford. I think I did a pretty good job. After this, Indy's mom dies, and his father, an educated man played by a legendary actor hailing from the UK, begins to have a very strained relationship with Indy. This is, of course, totally different from the normal Fallout 3 plot, where the Lone Wanderer's mom dies and their father, played by a legendary actor from the UK, begins to have a very strained relationship with them. Wait a minute. Then the dads both go missing, and we have to go and rescue them, breaking into a fortress run by a German and getting captured, then only escaping after causing a massive disaster that destroys the place where our heroes were captured. Holy crap, they are the same plot! Hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. We move forward a year after our birth, pick our special stats, and I go with a fairly well-rounded character, with a 6 in every stat except strength and perception. This is because Indy never really wins fights by being strong, more so by having good endurance and keeping his wits about him so he can win via unconventional methods. The lower perception is because Indy literally gets betrayed in every single movie and never sees it coming. After that, we skip forward in time once more to our 10th birthday, where we enjoy our party and go crush a rad roach in bats with our fists. To shoot the targets... Pew, pew. Nope. Pew.
It's a rat roach.
We then pose for a picture with Dad, then time moves forward ahead to us taking the goat test. However, before that, we grab the medicine bobblehead and absolutely clobber Butch and his cronies. We then skip the goat test, tag unarmed, small guns, and repair, since Indy is very good at deducing how booby traps and other mechanical devices work in all those old tombs. After this, we are shifted forward in time once more to age 19, where our father has gone missing and we have to go rescue him. Again, sounds familiar, but I'm not going to go into that again. We begin engaging the rad roaches and vault security with our fists, since we haven't picked up a revolver yet, and let me tell you, it is just the worst. You do less damage with your fists in Fallout 3 than if a fruit fly farted on your enemies. It's just awful. Officer Kendall puts up a hell of a fight, but eventually succumbs to the might of Indy's fists. We then save Butch's mom, proceed through the vault, and make our way towards the exit. We mostly upgrade our tag skills on this first level up, then take the Swift Learner perk for some extra XP. We head into Megaton after getting our ass kicked by mole rats and bloatflies, and we begin working for Moira immediately, since she has our hat locked deep in her vault. and we can only access it after proceeding through her side quest a certain amount. Our first stop on Moira's quest line is to head to the Super Duper Mart, mostly to get it out of the way, but also in the hopes that we can find either of the 2 outfits we can wear, or a 32 pistol. We find one of those things, and dear God, it's actually worse than our fists. It takes almost all the ammo we have just to kill one raider with it, and even though 32 ammo is some of the most common in the Wasteland, it still never seems to be in enough supply to actually work out in our favor. We find both the food and medicine, deal with the raider reinforcements, then head back to Megaton to turn in this part of the quest and to sell Moira some useless junk. After that, I irradiate myself in Adam's glow and give myself critical radiation poisoning, similar to the level Indy would have received when he got out of that fridge in Crystal Skull. After this, I get into several close calls on my way to Minefield, but we make a quick pit stop at the scrapyard to pick up our dog, which I try to rename Indiana using console commands, fail, and then give up.
You are named after the dog?
Got a lot of fond memories of that dog.
After we get our dog, we attempt to head into Minefield, almost complete the quest, and are killed by Arkansas. Next time, I'm out for blood, so Dogmeat and I go around the back and begin fighting the escaped slave. I finally defeat him after a tense duel that mostly consists of me hiding behind the pillars to dodge his bullets because, remember, I still haven't found any armor yet, so I have exactly Dick Bubkus in terms of defense. After grabbing a mine and going to the playground, we fast travel back to Moira and get to work on the next chapter, which involves me finally getting my hat. I have to go into a mirelurk nest, place a camera, and get out without killing any mirelurks. This is good because I don't think I could kill one with my current gear and lack of healing supplies anyway. I managed to slip by using Stealth Boys and place the camera, then escape and go back to Megaton to get my hat. Finally, 1,220 words into the script, the run can truly begin. I then go talk to Gob, try to convince him to give me intel on my dad, fail, and then steal Moriarty's key out of his pocket and find out that we need to go to Galaxy News Radio. I head out with Dogmeat/Indiana, and we begin heading through the subway tunnels until we reach the Lion's Pride, and I make a decision that would lead to a catastrophic error down the line. See, I knew there would be a behemoth fight here in a second, so I sent Dogmeat back to the vault. I let everyone do their thing, finally picked up a 44 Magnum from the corpse of the behemoth, and then I went in to see 3 Dog without going to get 1 Dog. He then gave me his quest to go in the Museum of Technology, where I then went out the back door to get there faster. Again, without Dogmeat. I then have to fight through the collapsed tunnels all by myself with barely any healing items. I then go out onto the National Mall, where I am ambushed by super mutants, and I have to run to the museum and begin searching frantically for the dish. I run out of healing supplies after fighting a few more mutants, but I do find the dish with a sliver of health left, at which point I just run like hell to the door. As soon as I go outside, I am killed basically immediately. Thankfully, I came up with a solution based on some of my favorite cheesing techniques. As soon as I come outside, I pop a Stealth Boy and begin quick saving, quick loading as fast as possible to reset the aggro of the super mutants chasing me. Then I duck into the subway tunnel to get them off my back. Then I head into the Washington Monument while still stealth, place the dish, then head back to the Super Duper Mart to sleep, grab Dogmeat, and then go back to 3 Dog to turn in the quest. After I started playing again, we left GNR and headed towards Rivet City, stopping at the Jefferson Memorial to take out the super mutants and save ourselves some time later. After I got to Rivet City, I stopped in the marketplace to pick up more ammo and repair my stuff, went to the Capital Preservation Society, and got a quest from Abraham Washington to recover the Declaration of Independence. Yes, I know that was a different movie, but Indy would still totally be down in this situation. I then go to Madison Lee's office to grab the intelligence bobblehead, and to tell Madison Lee that my dad is alive and that he went to go get a gat. However, he would have to wait because our outfit is still not together yet. I went on a hunt, scouring every location I had discovered thus far and asking every merchant if they had any of the 3 outfits I could wear. No dice. I then looked up a location for the Wasteland Surgeon's outfit, and it turns out the outfit can be found on the corpse of William Brandis, deep in the fire ant-infested subway tunnels of Greyditch. Great. How convenient. I headed down into the tunnels with Dogmeat, spending about 10 straight minutes in agony until we finally found the outfit, which, to be honest, was only worth that much trouble because, again, there isn't an outfit that includes Indy's iconic death. I instead chose to emulate his short-sleeve jacketless look, and it's good enough, I guess. Anywho, to the archives. I head inside and meet a character named Sydney, a woman with enough daddy issues to rival Indy's own. Following Indy's habit of working with a female companion on all his adventures, we decide to team up and defeat the super mutants to get the document. After a fairly difficult fight, we get to Button Gwynnet, and much like the Grail Knight, we allow him to finally rest after keeping a vigilant guard over his treasure for many centuries. We then try to go and get the Magna Carta and Bill of Rights, but they are locked behind a door we lack the skill to open. We'll have to come back for those later. After that, we headed to the Slavers at the Lincoln Memorial to begin the quest and get Lincoln's artifacts. We head to the Temple of the Union, and then go to the Museum of History and gather all of the Lincoln treasures. Then go for more ammo at Flak and Shrapnels, since we are going to be taking out all the Slavers by ourselves. After that, we head to Tenpenny Tower to get some ammo from Gustavo. Then we decide to instead do the main quest, since we are so close to Dad's location. This is where we fail the run because we are forced to wear the Vault 112 suit. Although we haven't technically been wearing the right outfit for most of the run since we've been running around in our underwear. We barely spend any time at all in the simulation, activating the Chinese invasion protocol and saving everyone. This won't be the last time we fail the run because of outfit restrictions, and we fail the run for a different reason because I decided that Indy would help finish the book for Moira to the fullest extent, which involves using the repellent stick. I then went to the sewers and got my first few kills, but, however, there was a raider and a turret down there that had robbed me of some mole rats. Thus began a 30-minute odyssey going from Smith Casey's garage all over the wasteland, with very little luck on the whole finding mole rats front. I was not having a good time. I finally found the last few near Megaton and was able to turn in that chapter for Moira. As far as the stick goes, I only used it the required 10 times plus 1 extra because I lost count, and the game hadn't told me I was done yet. After I got the required kills, I went to Rivet City to uncover the true history of the settlement from Pinkerton, then to the Jefferson Memorial to clear out all the mutants, and then to the National Library to gather the archive data. I then gathered all the ammo I could, and then fast-traveled back to the Lincoln Memorial, and gave all the slavers there the Temple of Doom treatment. I then gave Hannibal the Lincoln artifacts, since he would need them more than the museum would. I then leveled up, took the Daddy's Boy perk to get my science up to the required level, for the optional objective at the Robco facility, and finally finished the book. I finally caught up with Dad at Rivet City, told him to follow me to the memorial, and progressed the main quest until the Enclave showed up. I then used my Magnum to defeat a soldier in power armor, then went up to the Purifier Chamber and clipped through the walls to see if I could use the console to end the game and my suffering prematurely, but sadly it was out of power. I then reloaded my old save from just before my attempt, got the scientists through the tunnels with Garza actually surviving alongside Dr. Meat, Dr. Lee, and I, and then we sat through the cutscene with Elder Lyons. I then spoke to Scribe Rothschild and went to find myself a Gek. I also made sure to replace Dogmeat with Star Paladin Cross, since Indy almost always has a female companion on all his adventures. Cross and I went on our usual ammo gathering run to Tenpenny Tower, Flak and Shrapnel, and Moira. Then we went to Smith Casey's garage to get a little lamplight. Inside, we talked to MacCready and agreed to free the child slaves because, like I said before, literally the plot of Temple of Doom. Cross and I traveled to Arafu, then headed north to Paradise Falls. We rolled up on that place like angels of death, although that was more Cross than Indy. We had given her plenty of weapons and ammo from the enemies we had run into by that point, including an Enclave power helmet. She did not want to wear the armor for some reason. As such, when I lit up Grouse, Cross did not hesitate, and we mowed down just about every slaver bastard in the settlement. I'm just gonna have my editor put in some footage here to some badass soundtrack. Enjoy! We rescued the kids, headed back to Lamplight, and went straight into the vault since we could hack the terminal with our science skill. We then fought through the super mutants, rescued Fox, and used him to get the Gek. After picking that up, both Cross and Fox let me get kidnapped by the Enclave and taken to Raven Rock, where I, in typical Indy fashion, reveal nothing to my interrogator. After that, I decide I can use an Enclave officer disguise, since Indy dresses up as the bad guys in all 3 of the original trilogy. Kind of. Temple of Doom is kind of iffy on that, since he keeps the same outfit, but he gets brainwashed and made up to look like one of the Thuggy. I then fought through the base, my disguise fooling absolutely nobody. Hello. Until the president helped me escape, and I told him to deactivate himself. Outside, I meet up with Fox, who I promptly tell to piss off, never to be seen again in this run. The objective then tells me I need to go to the Citadel once more, but do I? Absolutely not. You see, for about 15 years now, the Indiana Jones franchise has been plagued by something that many argue killed the franchise, and it was all due to a bunch of aliens and their stupid spaceship. As such, I decided to go and get some revenge for all us Indy fans who hated Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I went to the crashed alien spaceship and started the Mothership Zeta DLC. This, however, would prove to be a very bad decision based on my lack of supplies, but we will get into that later. I get sucked up into the ship, get probed someplace that I'm too embarrassed to say out loud, and then started fighting with Soma to get the guards in the cell. I then vanquished the guards and headed out to meet Sally, after getting my stuff back. I had one objective at this point: Paulson. That cowboy son of a cuss was using my revolver. Ignore the fact that it's called Paulson's revolver. Why did I want it so bad? Simple. Not only is it the closest looking weapon to Indy's gun from Raiders, it also shoots a 9-pellet shotgun spread that would do big damage to my enemies. Unfortunately, the only way to get his weapon is to kill the poor cowpoke. Look at it like this. At least he can see his family now. Now, this DLC, it's just the worst. Especially when using only specific guns. It's linear, it practically forces you to use energy weapons due to a lack of ammo except for the alien power modules. If you allowed yourself to use those weapons, this DLC would be a quick romp with some wacky sci-fi aesthetics and some fun little set pieces. However, I didn't, which meant this DLC went from sitting on a piece of cake to sitting on a pine cone with no lube. What really doesn't help things are the turrets, which, of course, I can't damage with my fists, meaning that, since I'm out of ammo, I would need to either avoid them or take them out with a terminal when available. I needed to shut down 3 generators around the ship, and this being my first time playing this DLC, I didn't know I could bring my fellow prisoners with me for assistance. That definitely would have helped in multiple situations. I fought through the cryo labs, taking advantage of the healing arches laying around, until I got to the generator and shut it off. I then headed to robot assembly, took out the drones using most of my ammo, and then blew a hole in the wall, which killed me the first time. The pain was building within me once more. I then reloaded a save, went back and did all of that again, and then got to a safe distance this time as I blew up the wall. However, me being an idiot, I didn't realize that there was a hole in said wall after I caused the explosion, so I went looking for it for an amount of time I'm too embarrassed to admit, which then caused me to rage quit the stream, and then, even more embarrassingly, I had to look up a walkthrough on YouTube before I started playing again. I then started the stream again 3 days later, found the hole, went through, and destroyed the last generator. I also picked up the drone remote controller, which was a surprise tool that can help us later. After that was the hangar, and this one sucked. I went into the hangar, didn't have enough ammo to use, and had to defend myself against multiple waves of aliens. However, this is where I whipped out the ace in the hole, the card up my sleeve, the Desert Eagle in my glove compartment. Remember 36 words ago when I said I didn't have any ammo to use? That was a lie. I don't know if my editor has shown it in the footage so far, but I had been hoarding something big, something bold, something very few people would have seen coming. That's right, I had been saving a missile launcher. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy whips out a rocket launcher to threaten Belloc and the Ark so they will let Marion go. However, he doesn't actually pull the trigger then, so I guess I can't use the launcher, right? Wrong! Remember in Crystal Skull when Indy uses the rocket launcher to blow up that stupid tree chopper vehicle? Of course you don't, because nobody remembers anything from that movie, but I do! Finally, the pain and suffering I endured from doing a commentary on that movie for my podcast would finally pay off. The link to our Patreon is in the link tree in the description, by the way. I whipped out my savior, destroyed the aliens and the generator, then headed back to Sally to finish the second worst thing involving aliens and Indiana Jones. I needed to go into space, which would fail the run once more due to me not using the correct outfit. However, it's too late to turn back now. I headed into space, got the teleporter ready, went into the other ship, and took my spacesuit off too early, which, of course, killed me. Great! Now we have to do that all over again! I waited the proper length of time, put my outfit back on, and then took out the aliens and let Soma and Sally into my part of the ship. I then needed to go through the engineering part of the ship to reach the bridge and finally get off this terrible ride. At some point, I met and killed the abominations, nothing special. I was far too numb at this point to care. I shut down the death ray generators, was killed, had to do it all over again, and I used a great strategy of just standing by the teleporter and splattering these Xeno bastards into a fine green paste with my bare hands. This allowed me to successfully shut off the death ray and finally head to the bridge. I then pressed some buttons at a certain time and blew up the enemy ship. If this is sounding truncated, that's because it is. I literally could not have possibly cared less at this moment. Fallout 3 had reminded me why I don't like it as much as I do New Vegas and Fallout 4, and I just wanted it to be over. After beating the DLC, I headed down to the surface with all my alien weapons, and picked up the prize for winning, the Alien Blaster. This weapon is so good that it almost made my suffering worth it. Cross was going to have a field day with it. I then sold all my alien crystals, got about 144 rounds, and began the march with Liberty Prime, which, other than the mortar fire that occasionally crippled me, was fairly easy given I have so much backup. I didn't even need to do anything. We finally made it to the memorial, which we sped through no problem given the armament of the three of us. We then met up with Colonel Autumn, upon which time I actually talked him out of the fight, thus making my original plan of obliterating him with my missile launcher pointless. I then waited until he was walking away to shoot him in the back with Paulson's revolver, while Cross and Lyons dealt with the Enclave soldiers. I then went into the chamber, sacrificed myself, and did not beat Fallout 3's Indiana Jones. Why is that? Well, on top of my previous failings where I had to wear inaccurate outfits, I had forgotten to visit the final museum on the list, plus I had also forgotten to grab the other documents. Or so I thought. I booted up my last save a few days later, right as I was wrapping up this script. I fought Autumn again, blew myself up with the missile launcher like a moron, sacrificed myself again, sat through the credits, and then woke up in the post-game at the Citadel. I then tried to get Cross, did not succeed, and then went to grab the Bill of Rights and the Magna Carta. However, I had at some point already grabbed them. I did not remember doing this at all. Either my editor will find the footage of this, or you can find it over on Twitch. All 6 VODs for this playthrough are highlighted on there. It would have had to have been after I got Lockpick 50 at level 8, if that helps. If you can find the time code and which VOD it was, leave it in the comments. The first one to do so will get pinned. After that, I went back to the Citadel, got Cross, went to the Republic of Dave, went inside the museum and stole the bobblehead, and then I technically didn't beat Fallout 3 as Indiana Jones. However, you totally could, and here's my argument as to why. You can easily beat the main story with only your fists and the armor I chose. The only times where I violated the challenge were for side content or DLCs. Yes, the XP and gear I got from those DLCs did help the main story, but you could avoid doing those quests if you wanted. If you want to try beating the game correctly and making a video, you're absolutely welcome to do so and post it in the comments, and I will shout you out in the next challenge video. Thank you very much for watching. It took me a really long time to beat the game and to script this video out, since it's over 4,600 words long, so I hope the hard work shows. If you enjoyed the editing for this video, check out Sonic Extreme 99's and Magician Rabbit Supremacy's channels in the description. They're both really talented and funny, and they both do some good solo stuff. Leave a like, comment, or even subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to check out my Discord server, my podcast, and my Twitch channel where I record the footage for these videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.